Today I answer the age-old burning question that I know you all have. What makes the better jig? Soft plastics or bucktail? What's going on, guys? Welcome back to SDG. Yes, you heard it right. Today we are pitting bucktail and soft plastic against one another to see which one of those is the superior jig material. Now I know, I can already hear it because I'm already saying it to myself, and any angler that's a regular fisherman is going to probably say the same thing, and that is, come on, say it with me, it depends. The conditions may warrant a bucktail approach versus a soft plastic approach. You're probably going to get a little bit more activity with a soft plastic, especially the curly tail that we're going to use today. But that aside, I thought it would be fun to do this regardless. So the first thing we need are some jig heads, and I've got a new lead mold, new to me anyway. It's not new on the market or anything. It's called the walleye jig. So it's specifically made to kind of bounce along the bottom. It's got a flatter, keeled off bottom of the head that's supposed to deal with those rocks a little bit better. We will be making 4 of those, all 1/8 ounce. I'm going to do 2 bucktails in the same pattern. I'll show you one of them. It's just going to be rinse and repeat. And then we'll have 2 of them available to go with our curly tails. And then we're going to take these things to the river and see how they do. The lead is hot, so let's turn our attention there. I'll show you what this jig looks like and the hooks that we're going to use today. So here's the inside of our walleye jig. You can see, I think the sizes are over here. Yeah, it goes from a 5/8 all the way down to a 1/16. We're going to pour a 1/8 today. I'll show you the hook that we're going to use here in a second. I don't really care for the fact that it's that close to the collar. I usually like it to be a little bit more centered, but the hook does fit. I've poured this size a couple of times and not had any issues. See, the spot for the recessed eyes are there, so we'll definitely be adding some 3D eyes to the mix afterwards. The hooks that we're going to use are size 1 32/755s. All right, let's pour this thing. All right, I think it poured well. Let's find out. Oh yeah, looks great. Everything filled in properly. See that space for the recessed eyes. And yeah, even on the back side where it was a little close to the side of the collar there, all turned out just fine, as I expected. So let me pour another 3 of these. I'll cut the sprues off and get them all filed down, and we'll turn our attention to painting. Here we go. Got our 4 jig heads ready to go. Sprue is cut off. Everything is filed down. I think I may have mentioned previously that the keel was wide. I had it backwards. It's got a wider head and then comes to a flat, or a point rather, on the bottom to help out with the rocks. So my mistake on that one, but a cool little 1/8 ounce head. So let's talk colors. I've got chartreuse on the left and a white mixed with pearl white on the right. So our heads today are going to be chartreuse. We're not going to two-tone them, but I have 2 going here because oftentimes when using chartreuse, definitely when you're using any pearl powders or candy colors, things of that nature, it's best to base it in white first. All right, we're all clamped up. Let's get these painted. And into the oven they go. All right, while our jig heads are baking in the oven, thought we'd turn our attention to the soft plastics and knock that out real quick. So as I mentioned, we are going to do the 3-inch Epic curly tail. It's a great little grub. I think it's going to be perfect for our test today. If you've watched any of my recent videos, you know I'm kind of on this all flake kick, and I'm really digging it. Like, Really digging it. This was a very appropriate time to do that once again. We are going to turn to Chartreuse .008. This is more of a green chartreuse, which I think will tie well with the bucktail, right? We need a corresponding, or at least as close as we can get, color match on these two. But both will also have some element of silver. So I've got 0.015 silver. Heavy flake in both of these, clear Plastisol otherwise. I've got a half cup of BaitPlastics 242 as usual. So let me warm this guy up and then we'll build this color. All right, we are ready to roll. This has been heated up and put through the vac. Let's start with our chartreuse. I'm going to go with a 1/4 teaspoon. This is a half cup, as I mentioned. So this stuff is going to saturate well. Let's see where we are with a half cup. 0.008. It's so fine. And yeah, let's get the silver in there. See if we need some more. Half teaspoon of silver because it's twice the size. Right, 0.15 versus 0.08. So to get the same level of overall saturation, the flakes are bigger, they spread out more, and you need effectively twice as much. That's perfect. I don't think we need any more than that. So let me check our temperature. 302. Definitely need to warm this up. So let me do that, and we will be shooting in just a few. We're all warmed up into 8-ounce injector, more than enough to shoot this one. Could use my 4-ounce if I wanted to, but this one was readily available. These are going to be cool. Oh yeah. Oh man, those look nice. The tail's really nice too, as you can tell the clear. Oh, our jig heads are done. They look good. All right, there's those guys. As I was saying, the clear Plastisol and just the flake in the tail, nice little aspect. And then into the thicker part of the body, you really get that good saturation. This is reminiscent of a build that I did for a buddy. You know who you are. This has been, goodness gracious, months and months ago with this very mold. He asked me for some chartreuse and silver all flake grubs, and I didn't use this green chartreuse. At the time I used a gold chartreuse, more yellow than green, but the same silver. But I had leftover, and that was the first time that I ever put all flake into a bait, and it has set me on a trajectory that has been really cool. As I said, you know who you are, and I thank you. These look cool. Let's get our jig heads out so I can get some eyes on them, and then we will turn our attention to the vise. So our jig head's all set. You can see it came out of the oven pretty beautiful. Got some sweet little 5/32 red eyes. Those are knockoff living eyes. I always like the look of chartreuse in red. We did that on the last video as well, or a couple videos back anyway. I just think it looks cool. Red is so, or chartreuse is so loud, and red is kind of an aggressive color. Just works in my mind. I'm going to be using olive 210 denier flat wax nylon, sort of close to chartreuse, but I think it'll work well. Let's get a little thread base down here. Super quick tie. Got that chartreuse bucktail. I want 2 really small layers of bucktail, thin is what I mean, because we're going to put silver between. Remember, we're trying to emulate, or we're trying to match as close as we can our little grub, and chartreuse and silver are all through here. They're mixed in. So I'm going to try to make that happen with the bucktail here as well. All right, with a size 1 hook, it's going to be a pretty small, or a pretty short little patch. So there to there, that's about 1.5 hook length, because it's really going to go on the collar, right? So that looks pretty good. Normally, I would try to take half of this and put it on the top, and another half and put it on the bottom. We may have to do that, but this collar is so small that I really want to try to just spread it around. I'm holding tension down so that I don't lose it, but if that will work, that'll make it that much quicker. And it looks like it did. So cool. You guys see that? Looks like that worked. So let me tighten that down. Very cool. Now on to the Flashaboo, and I'm not going to be stingy with this. I'm going to take out at least 3 or 4 pieces, because I'm going to go with 4, because when we cut it, we don't need it this long, obviously, and I'll be able to multiply these 4 pieces over by themselves quite a few times. So we'll cut that 4 in half. That gives us effectively 8. And what does that look like? If we half that, wrap it around. Yeah, so that's about half. So yeah, that's good. So we'll have 8 strands times 2, so 16 strands, which is quite a bit. Now I think we want just a little bit more on top, so I'm going to go back. Let's do 1 strand on top, and we'll cut it in half, and then we'll have 4 strands as we fold that over. All right, that looks good. Tighten those down. And now back to the bucktail for an overcoat. Now this one I don't think I'm going to be able to get away with pushing it all the way around. So I got 1 piece measured out for the top, and I'll measure out another, or so this is the bottom. 1 piece measured out for the bottom, and I'll do the same for the top. Let's get a whip finish on here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Awesome. As always, some Loon water-based head cement to seal the threads in. And she is done. I think that'll be a good representation of the bucktail version of our little 3-inch curly tail. I will create or tie up another one of these off camera, just to have a spare in case this one gets lost. Between that and the heads that are already ready to go for this guy, I'll see you on the water. Well, we've made it. This is the Tigert River, right by a town about a half hour from me called Philippi. And it is looking gorgeous. I haven't waded. Oh man, I don't remember the last time. It's been forever. So I'm really looking forward to this. Water's low, clear. Got some sweet, you guys see that? Rocks and rapids up there, some shade over here. So we are going to put these guys to the test. First up is our curly tail. Before we head over to the shade or those rocks, I'm just going to toss right out into the middle here. We'll see how this goes. If I land into a monster, or a school of them rather, then I'll swap back and forth to give both baits an even chance. Oh yeah, that looks really good in the water. Gosh, how lame would it be? Came clear out here, had both of these, and neither of them got bit. That would be really stupid. Rod tip up. Reeling at a pretty good pace. I'm still hitting the bottom. Right there. Okay. There we go. Whoa, that's not a rock. That was sludge. Holy crap. That looked just like a rock. Oh man, I'm an idiot. I see some life. Let's see what's up here. All right, how deep are we getting here? All right. Whew, that's nice. I'm about up to my booty. Sorry if it's a little loud. Cool view though. Check that out. Man, there's just something special about river fishing. All right, I'm back below the rocks. They are behind me, and make our way to the bridge. All right, I think my best shot is right here in the middle. That's a good one. A better one anyway. We have our first. There he is. Oh, come on. Alright, 1-0 for the grub. He ain't giant, but he's pretty. Alright, there's one for the grub. Let's switch over now to the bucktail. Alright, new location. We got what we could out of the other one. Curly tail is still up 1-0, and I am still on the bucktail. This is Buchanan River, a favorite, much smaller creek type deal that a buddy and I and his son and Reed, we've all fished before. Musky in here, but definitely smallmouth. So I took the waders off. It's actually starting to rain a tad, which could help us. So let's see if we can get a bucktail bite. Not cool. Still raining, but not as hard. We're just gonna get out and brave it. At least fish this hole with this bucktail. Come on. There's one. Yep. Looky there. Got one on the old bucktail. In the rain, no less. Well, I guess that evens it up. Man, look at that eye. Golly, big old red eye. Such beautiful fish. All right, so here we are. I am soaked to the bone. The bugs are getting nasty, and our comparison is complete. Guess from a smallie's perspective, they don't care if it's soft plastic or bucktail. They just want to eat. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Had a lot of fun making it. If you'd like to see more videos just like this one, then click right here. If you're curious about the name SDG, then click right here. Otherwise, as I battle off the bugs, I'll see you guys in the shop.